Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Good Day Chula Vista. And today we are going to talk construction, so stay with us. Welcome back. So today we are on our episode 55. I'm Fabi Gonzalez with Cobo Banker West, your realtor here in Chula Vista in San Diego. And this is Good Day Chula Vista. And today we have Chris Aguilar with us. Hi,
Thank
Chris.
you. Hi, how are you?
Good. So we're going to be talking construction. And we've been bringing you different guests. And we've been talking about law, immigration, loans. And today we thought, why not talk about construction, because we sell houses, so what
Yes.
better, right?
Good topic. I like it.
Of course you do. Chris, so thank you for coming and visiting us, but tell us about you.
It was my pleasure to come and be here. And so I'm the CEO for AH Construction. We've been open for 13 years. We started first as consultants for big developers. And I guess 07, 08, most developers closed the doors down because of the economy. And at that time, we had the idea of me and my brother, who was my partner, of opening up our own general construction business. And it's been 13 years already, and it's been great. Just been awesome 13 years of our life, yeah.
Wow. So what are the companies that you were working with before?
So I worked for custom construction. I worked for Point and Gosnell Builders. I worked for Macmillan and other smaller developers. So we will go into their companies as a consultant and restructure their logistics department, their operations department, and strategy to be able to build for less money.
Right.
So less money per square foot, yeah.
So you're very familiar with this area because you've been doing construction
Yes.
here in the area for how many? More than 13 years now.
Yes, absolutely. Know the area really good.
Because
yeah.
before you were doing it, you were consulting for other companies that were doing it
Yes.
here.
They were massively developing here in Chula Vista and Spring Valley and Rancho San Diego and all that.
Yeah. So you get to see before anything was built on this side of the hill.
Yeah, it was really nice to see that. Like we'll go to a job site sometimes and it's just raw hills, and all of a sudden you go a year later and you got 100 homes and people living in them. It's just awesome. It's amazing
Right.
to see that. Yeah.
So let's get going with the questions. Guys, his information and all the information from the guests that we've had here in the show, you can find them in our website, fabigonzalez.com. If you go to professionals, it's one of the tabs on top of the website, and you'll find their information there. So if you don't see it on the page, if you can't find it, just go to my website and you can always see it there. If you need an inspector, if you need a lender, we have everybody there. So make sure you visit our page, okay?
Awesome.
So we're gonna ask you a few questions. You wanna hand me that?
Okay.
Thank you. So this is gonna show everybody that's logging in to see us, and then at the
Okay.
end, if anybody has any questions, we'll go back and answer.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
That'll be awesome.
So we'll have this here, and let's start with the first question. Make sure you guys are asking questions, making comments. We're gonna have a drawing at the end of the show. We're gonna give out 2 Starbucks gift cards.
Yes.
So remember. So what do you think is? I know you're doing more commercial
Right.
than residential. So tell me, what do you think is the most expensive area for commercial upgrades?
So I would say it's the same thing for whether if it's a residential home or a commercial building. The most expensive areas to renovate or add to the building are always new kitchens and new bathrooms. Those are the most expensive areas to add to a building or remodel. Besides that, I guess after that it will be, partition, walls removal or adding, that sort of
That would
of
be the
improvement.
second. So kitchens and bathrooms, those are the most expensive.
Yes.
And what about the least expensive ones?
The least expensive ones will be aesthetic changes. For example, for a home, if you want to have better curb appeal, the most inexpensive change will be, refreshing your bark, landscaping improvements, maybe painting not the whole home, maybe painting the fascia, maybe the foam projections of your stucco, doing some cleanliness of the windows on the outside, maybe service of the rain gutters, roof,
Yeah.
and that'll be
The least expensive ones?
yeah. And the
Okay.
outside.
So with your experience of what you have seen, does an addition really raise the value of a building, whether it's a home or a commercial building? For example, if you put in $30,000 into a home, does it really increase the value of $30,000?
But that's a great question, and it applies for both commercial and residential. If you're going to add 1,000 square feet to your home or a commercial building that you own, the cost to build is going to cost you. It varies between commercial and residential. Let's talk residential for a little bit.
Yeah.
In the residential side, it'll cost you anywhere between $140 a square foot to $175 a square foot, depending on the finishes you want to do. Now, the ongoing rate on real estate for this area is what, $280 a square foot. So let's say you paid $170 and you can sell it for $280, and you build 1,000 square foot. You can really make some serious equity there. $120,000, $140,000 by making an improvement and live more comfortable at home or a commercial building. Yeah, so it definitely is directly related, and if anyone wants to be more comfortable and wants to have more equity in their home, I think this is the right time to be able to do something like that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Does it depend on the area, Chris? Because I know that I've heard the term like you overbuilt for this area.
Yes.
Is that because I can tell you I was doing a comp for one of my clients, and he has a house it's in the borderline of IB and 92154.
Okay.
But he made a huge house. I think it's like an 8-bedroom house. It's too big for the area. There's nothing around there that big. So when we were doing the comps, it was really hard to comp it because he overbuilt it. Is that possible?
It's definitely possible, and I think the first step will be, I guess before even reaching out to someone like myself, will be reaching out to someone like you. Because you can advise them on what the comparables are in the area and be able to let them know, you know what, for this type of home, this type of area, it'll probably be good if you add this much square foot. Let me introduce you to Chris or someone, a construction company that does residential.
To you.
And put a cost, and put a cost to it so that you can have the best result. Because I have seen situations like that, similar to the one you mentioned, where they overbuilt. Another important thing too is not just the square footage, but the finishes that you give to a home. You might not want to do a marble or a granite importer from Italy that's going to cost you $100,000 if your home is in a zip code that really doesn't comp that. So,
right. So it is important to keep that in mind when you're doing your upgrades. I mean, if you're just going to stay there the rest of your life and that's where you're going to live, definitely get whatever you are happy with. But if you're thinking of seeing this house as an investment and later you want to sell it, you might not be able to get back all that money that you put into. But if you're just doing it for yourself and you're going to enjoy it 10, 20 years, then definitely it's totally worth it, right?
Absolutely.
What is the most expensive upgrade that you've made?
The most expensive
besides your pool?
Besides my pool, huh? We're just talking about that. So the most expensive upgrade that I've done to a building would probably be, we just recently, if you guys go to our website, you guys can check that out. There's a nice video on it. But we grabbed a Citibank that went out of business, and it had those vaulted old, roof pitches, gables meeting each other in the middle. And we took that roof out, and we made it a 2-story building, commercial building. It's like, 35,000 square feet of commercial space, 2 stories now. So it used to be a single story, now it's 2 stories. It's all glass. It was in Vista here.
Nice.
Close to us, and that was a pretty big improvement. The customers were super happy. They were so happy that they we're actually bidding 2 jobs for them right now at Big Lots and Walmart, actually, in Palm Springs.
Wow, so. They were so happy. Good job.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So they got double the square footage by adding that second.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Lots of equity there.
Yeah, we want equity. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the roof. Give us some roof tips. How can someone tell if it's time for a new roof, and what happens if they don't replace it with enough time?
That's a really good question, because I had customers that will come to me and ask me to be an advocate because they call their insurance, they have a roof leak, the insurance doesn't want to cover. So we are responsible for our buildings, whether it's a commercial building or a home, to maintain. I guess some of the clauses in the insurance companies stipulate that we have to maintain the building that we're in, that we got insured. It's our job to maintain it. If you don't maintain it and you have a leak and the insurance adjuster gets there, he might not cover the claim because it was lack of maintenance. So it's important to make sure you're maintaining your roof. And now to answer your question, how do you know that it's time to replace a roof?
Before it leaks, right? Right.
So I always turn to the experts, and I would suggest that you would call a roofing company a roofing company can come out and give you a free proposal. They shouldn't charge you. If they want to charge you, then call somebody else, because normally they shouldn't.
Right.
So they'll go out and they'll give you the life expectancy of the roof that you already have. There's a licensed professional telling you and a cost and what it would take to replace it. So that if you think you haven't done that in the last 10 years, I think it'll be time to call a roofing company.
Especially before the rain comes. So
Absolutely.
you want to do it now, even if they're going to tell you you still have 2 more years to go, but at least you can put it on your calendar in a year and a half, schedule it and plan your budget. Because a roof could be, up to, in a house like, 1,200 square feet, it's probably going to be between $6,000 and $10,000 depending on the roof size, right?
Yes, correct.
Like around that. So you want to make sure that you do that in advance and you're prepared, you start planning your budget, because you're right, once it starts leaking, it's not just repairing the roof. Now you gotta, what else got damaged? The drywall inside the house,
maybe electrical, maybe insulation,
insulation in the attic,
furniture, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. So you want to make sure you do that. The home warranty, that we usually get the home warranty for our clients, and it's a limited warranties. They're not going to replace your roof. So even though it covers a few leaks, it's not going to replace the roof for you. So you want to make sure you keep that in mind.
Right.
The roof is how long do they last?
So roofing material varies. They sell for homes. We have systems called you have your roofing tile, right? That'll last you between 30 and 35 years.
Wow.
So the tile will last more actually, but the underlayment under the tile will only go for 30 to 35 years if they do it correctly. On a commercial building, there's 15 years, 25 years, and 35 years. And we got TPO systems and felt systems for commercial buildings. So it varies. But something important to talk about too is when you are ready to go out and get a new roof, I always get 3 proposals. I always go out and get 3 bids to make sure that you have the best and most competitive price by licensed contractors. So that's really important. Another
Right.
thing too is when you start a job, you should not pay any licensed contractor more than $1,000 or 10%, whichever is less.
To get started?
To get started.
Oh, so we don't do 50%?
No, absolutely. I have some customers do give me 50%, but that's legally you can only do that in commercial buildings.
Okay.
So when we work for commercial customers, we can even get 100% in advance. That depends on the relationship between the customer and the contractor. But for residential, the law very clearly stipulates that it's 10% or $1,000, whichever is less. So that's important to keep in mind. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know, because I always do 50%. I'm gonna talk to this guy that I've been working with. I'm just kidding. We have a
That's
good
nice.
relationship, so if
It's
the,
totally okay.
the trust is there, so
Yes.
I always want to help him out and make sure he has enough for the all the material he has
Yes.
got to buy. But
Thank you.
10%
Yeah.
is the legal amount.
Someone needs a bid.
Huh?
Antonio, the agent?
Oh, Harbor John?
Yeah. He said you need a bid.
Harbor John, we can say your last name, Antonio.
Like, I need a bid ASAP.
Okay. Perfect. We're gonna put his name on top of I think his name is already there, but we're gonna add it at the end of the show, and definitely.
Awesome.
Okay, so now let's talk about rain gutters. A lot of people don't really pay attention to that. I really like to pay attention because I know water is the worst enemy for a house, because our houses are made of just wood and drywall. So water intrusion is like my worst enemy, right?
Yes.
So what are rain gutters? Because a lot of people don't even know what they are, and what are they good for?
Okay, so anytime somebody calls out our company for a foundation review, a cracked foundation, known as a cracked foundation, the first thing I look at is there rain gutters in the building? And most of the time there isn't rain gutters in the building. So I guess the most important reason why you want to have rain gutters is because if you don't have rain gutters, you have your exterior walls and then you have your roof, right? Then you have your fascia on the overhang of the roof. Now on that fascia you put it's a seamless piece of sheet metal that basically detours the water from falling on the toe of your foundation. If you don't do that, nothing can stop water. It'll start deteriorating the foundation until it undermines it, and then you end up with a cracked foundation in the future. So it's not expensive to do rain gutters. You can do a home, for, normal size home under 3,000 square feet for about $2,500. It's not expensive, and it can really save you a lot of monies in the future. So it's important.
Yeah. Definitely. I do see a lot of the houses that I'm selling, and some of them don't even have concrete around the house.
Yes.
And they don't have rain gutters. So to me, it's like, okay, you gotta do either or, like right away. You want to have the rain
Yes.
gutters. So the rain gutters go all around your roof,
Right.
and they have like they usually go all they're directed like he said
Yeah, they're
to one
sloped.
corner.
Mhm.
They're sloped to one side, and then you guide the water where you want it to go. Usually to the
Mhm.
street.
Right.
I mean, it depends where you are, but you want to make sure you have that, and that where the water is going, there's concrete or something that's going to guide the water away from your house. A lot of people have plants on the side of their house, and especially when we have raised foundation, like I do in my house, it's not a good idea to have landscape all the way to the foundation of the house. You want to have a little bit of concrete, so that way the water is not going directly under your house, because remember, it's raised foundation, it can move easily, water is going underneath the
Yes.
house, so you want to protect your house. I'm speaking like a construction guy because I'm always
No, you're speaking well, yeah.
I'm
It's true.
always like so concerned about the water, and that's something, when we're selling a house, usually the sellers, they don't want to fix it because they've been living that way forever. So they're like,
Yes.
I'm not gonna fix it for this buyer. It's
Mhm.
been fine all these years. But when I'm selling these houses to these new buyers, I'm telling them it's a good investment to do that for your house.
Yes. We actually just, let me add to that. You mentioned something about concrete around a building to make sure it's sloping away from the building. So we just got called for a job where it was a major commercial building in Mission Valley, close to our office, and the building sunk a little bit because when I was gonna say the name of the developer
No.
that developed it, but
No,
no.
they-
So when they built this building, they actually they sloped the sidewalk against the building.
Oh,
So for
wow.
like the last 30 years, water has been just going in that foundation,
Under the-
and the building sunk a little bit, about 4 inches. Well, it's not a lot, 4 inches, right, for a 8-story building, but when it did that, it broke all the infrastructure, like all the portable water,
Oh my,
sewer
'cause it's
systems,
4 inches.
any gas lines, the turbine ducting for the HVAC equipment. So it was a pretty major job. So something so simple could have saved them, over
Tons of
$150,000,
dollars.
$200,000. Yeah,
Right. So you want to make sure you have that concrete, and like you said, like going
sloping away from the building. Yeah,
declive, le digo yo.
That's right. Yeah.
Que tenga declive. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's so important, all that stuff. I was like, I'm getting one of my bathrooms remodeled right now in my house, and we had an inspection, and the inspector told us that even the bottom of the window and the shower has to be sloped towards the.
Yes.
I didn't know that, so I was asking this guy this morning. I'm like, is it true that it has to be like sloped towards the inside of the shower? And he's like, yeah, we always do that. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. So the inspector called it out. So I guess he's a good one, because he's like, yeah, definitely. You don't want the water to get stuck and go to the window, and then
Mhm.
it'll get rotten.
Yes, absolutely.
Water, so beautiful and so destructive at the same time.
That's true.
Okay, now let's talk about what are the most important things to maintain on a house to avoid expensive damage or to avoid expensive repairs down the line.
So we just spoke about one of the important ones, which is rain gutters,
Mhm.
right? Water erodes. If you think about it, every river on Earth, it started as a stream of water, and it just it continued to erode the earth, and it became like the Amazon River or the rivers of Brazil.
Right.
So water has a major power. It's nice when we go and enjoy water at the beach or whatever. We drink it; it's healthy for you. But if you let it do whatever it wants, it can really hurt our buildings. So I would say something important is to make sure you got good rain gutters. Another thing too will be patios and balconies. Patios and balconies is something that sometimes we neglect, maybe because we don't use them as much when we don't live close to the beach, right?
Mhm.
But those have to be waterproofed at least twice a year. It's
Oh,
recommended
wow.
once a year, but at least twice a year. If you don't waterproof them, sooner or later you're gonna have rotten wood. You might even get some termite invited there because of the moisture content.
Mhm.
And it's important to make sure you're waterproofing those decks and those balconies. Yeah.
Okay, so twice a year,
I'm sorry, once every 2 years.
once every 2
I
years.
misspoke, yes.
Okay, once every 2 years.
Yes.
That's good to know. I don't think most of us do that.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
It's
How about
true.
the pergolas? Is the same thing?
Pergola's a little different because the material that they have inside, the way they're made, you probably need to do that, I would say, every 5 years.
Okay.
Not as constant as we do balconies or
Mhm.
deck. Yeah.
How about peeling paint on the house? Because I know when we do, when the appraiser comes to a house to see it, if they see paint that is peeling, they make you fix it before the appraisal
Yes.
will go through. What's the deal with that?
The deal with that is because any home that's built after 1971 might have lead in it. and inspectors will go out and they will look at chips and they'll be like, whoa, liability, don't want to be part of this. So that, I think that's the trigger why they want you to paint your home. But speaking about asset protection, like protecting your own building, if your home is not, or building is not painted correctly and it's chipping out, you basically have no protection from the weather elements. So water's going to be getting in there. Sooner or later, you're going to have, you know, moisture in your insulation. And it's something that people don't know, but when insulation gets wet, it becomes toxic. And it goes from a solid into a gas. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so it's not to scare anyone, but if there's a leak in your home, make sure the insulation gets out of there soon, because especially if you have babies, it's toxic. So besides that, there'll be mold growth, and you know, you don't want that in your home.
So if the insulation gets wet, you want to replace it.
Absolutely.
You don't want to just let it dry.
No.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to talk about, okay, how about the fence? Because I know we put a new fence on the side of the house, and I just love the color of the wood when it's brand new.
Yes.
So I didn't want to paint it. How long is it going to last if I don't paint it?
So you can keep that review that you like. That aesthetic review is nice, beautiful. I like it too myself. But they have elastomeric polymers that it's basically a protection against the weather elements that you can have, and it'll be a clear based, and it can be a matte, or it can be a semi-gloss or gloss, different shines on that finish, and that'll protect it from the sun. It's a UV protection. But painting it is the easiest way if you paint it. But if you really like that color, I'll suggest that that you would move forward with some kind of elastomeric polymer to protect it from the sun.
Okay,
Yeah.
otherwise it's going to go bad sooner.
Yeah, it'll probably go for I'll say it'll start twisting left and right, you know, between planks within a year or so, and within maybe 4 years you're gonna have to start replacing planks.
Oh,
Yeah.
I better get it painted. Some paint on it. Yeah, it looks so beautiful right now, but I just thought, oh my God, it's gonna go bad if I don't paint it. But yeah, I never
Yeah.
thought about that clear one.
Yeah.
That is not gonna. Yeah, I don't like the shiny one, so probably you said there's some flat one too.
Yeah, I've done that before. Matte.
The
It's
matte-
called matte.
matte.
Finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So make sure you're always painting your fences as well.
Yes.
Let's see. We had another question. Okay, so we're talking about maintaining the thing. So we talked about water. We talked about the roof, paint. What are the other things? What about replacing the windows? Is it an expensive upgrade?
So Windows is Windows vary depending on if you go with Milgard or you go with the Window Depot type, supplier. The difference in cost will be installed. Window Depot will be about $250 installed per window for a regular size window. Milgard will be like $320 installed. So that's the difference in cost between a brand name and non-brand. But the most important thing to do with Windows is to check and see if you have dual pane insulated. If you don't have dual pane insulated, and when I say insulated is the new technology that came out with Windows 10 years ago or so with dual pane is where they put argon gas. And argon gas is a type of gas that does not allow temperature to transfer easily. So by having dual pane insulated windows, you have more insulation from the sun into your home. That makes your home more efficient. So if you want to have your AC being efficient, working efficient, you save monies actually. Those windows will probably get paid off if you go from single pane to dual pane like in 5 years.
Just with the savings of your
of your
electricity bill,
conditioning.
yeah.
I think so. So they're not there might be an investment in the front, but if you do have an air conditioner running all the time, like I do at home, it will be a huge savings in about 5 years.
Right. Plus the
Yeah.
noise also. If you don't have the dual
Yes.
pane, you can hear everything that's going on outside.
That's true. It's better insulated for the noise as well.
For the noise as well.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So it's not. How about do they have to? Because what is retrofit? I keep hearing that.
Okay, so you have two types of windows. They fit into two categories. One is retrofit, and the other one is new construction. So retrofit is the window that you put into a home that's already built. So what happens there is that what they do is they come in, a contractor like ourselves will come in and will basically grab a blade and just cut out the old window and leave the old frame there. Then you got this window that just gets pushed into the space and it gets screwed onto the frame, the old frame. That way there's no need to waterproof it. It gets caulked all the way around and you have a new window. It's pretty simple installation.
Right. It's
Now-
cheaper than doing the new construction.
Yes, if you do the new construction, you got to open up in the inside, open up drywall, and you got to open the exterior, whether it's siding or stucco, you're gonna have a bigger expense there.
Okay.
So
So that's it. But they work the same.
they work the same as far as function, but as far as durability, new construction is much better.
Yeah.
It's more durable, and it has better it has better emissions against the sun and sound. So
Okay.
yeah.
Better seal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be more. Okay, and then let's talk about what else. What are your suggestions to protect the foundation of the house, whether it's raised foundation or a slab? So we kind of cover that, but let's go over that because it's so important. How can you protect the foundation? First of all, let's go over what are the two types of foundations?
So we have so actually you have two types of foundation, two categories. The first category will be the raised foundations, kind of like your home that you spoke about. And the second category will be a monolithically poured in the ground, foundation with a slab on grade. Then there's a third type of foundation called a post-tension foundation. Most of these new homes here in Eastlake, because we have expansive soil, have a post-tension foundation. And since we're on this topic, I'll just mention it real quick. It's important that if you're ever going to do a remodel, that you make sure that your home, if it's a post-tension slab, that you call an expert, because post-tension means that after they put the rebar in, and this type of rebar is a special kind of rebar that it has epoxy around it, and after the concrete cures 2 weeks later, they come and they put tension on the rebar. The PSIs are tremendous, where if somebody was to cut a wire of that type of rebar in a post foundation, they could come out and cut somebody in half. It has happened. So be very careful. You have a post foundation, don't try to do work yourself at home, call an expert for that. But coming back to the question about those two types of foundations, what we can do to protect them.
Are those foundations that you're talking about, are they in the garage all the time in the newer houses?
Yes.
Because I've heard that.
So the homes, if to identify a post foundation, normally builders put a stamp in the garage.
Okay.
So if you see a stamp in the garage, and I thought about it a little bit, because sometimes builders don't put a stamp in the garage. By code, we don't have to do it.
So you can't just go by that. You would want to ask.
Yes, you
get
cannot
an
go
expert
just by
to check.
that.
And how would you know, like if you as an expert, when you go, how do you know that if it's under the concrete?
So physically, the way you can check is there's about 6 inches between the bottom of your stucco screed and the finished floor, whether it's concrete or your landscape. So you want to go to a planted area where the where the distance between the screed and the earth is longer, and you're going to be able to see like every 12 inches or every 16 inches, kind of like cables that were cut off.
Oh.
And that's how you identify that. Yeah. Usually rebar doesn't protrude out of the perimeter footing of the home. So that's the best way to try to identify it. That's the way I do it, but I always reference the county or the city. We go out, we pull the plans that the city has when the home was originally built, and the plans will tell you exactly if it is or if it's not.
Okay.
If it's a newer home, call the developer, call the builder. They might still be around.
They will tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that's one of the foundations. The other one is the slab, just the plain slab.
Slab on grade.
And then the other one is the raised foundation. What's the
Right.
difference in the first one and the second one?
So between a slab on grade and the post tension. So the post tension is used.
No, raised foundation and the
Yeah.
slab.
So the raised foundation and the slab is the raised foundation has footings all around the perimeter of the home, and it's raised normally about 18 to 24 inches. So it has a cross space in the bottom, and it has post footings, as designed by the structural engineer or civil engineer. Now, where a slab on grade foundation, it's concrete, it's sitting on the ground, and it's solid. It's I couldn't say that one's better than the other. It just depends on the type of soil that you have and the type of facade that you want in your home. So
I can tell you what I think about that. I like the slab. You know what? I had never lived in a raised foundation before.
Okay.
And I just hate that when somebody runs through the house in a raised foundation, you can feel it because it's
It's true.
it doesn't, especially if the house is old.
Yes.
And when you're on a slab foundation, anybody can be running, and the house seems like it's more firm.
It's true.
Now when I'm doing construction in my house, remodeling, it's way cheaper because it's raised foundation. So the plumbing, like I'm saying, I want the toilet over here. It's very easy to move it because they can crawl under the space, and the plumbing is really easy to move, so it's not that expensive. Whereas the other side of the house, there's a section that it has slab. I wasn't able to redo that because they needed to cut the concrete and it was going to be so
Yes.
expensive. So I'm like, you know what, just leave it where it is. So I noticed that it's way
Mhm.
cheaper when it's raised foundation when you're moving plumbing around.
Yes, there's pros and cons to both of them, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but definitely slab feels better, doesn't it? I mean,
You know,
to my
if I
like-
was to build my home again, I would build this slab on grade, yes.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
feels like, I don't know, more firm or less noisy. Okay, so that's to protect the foundation. Oh, we talked about the foundations, but what to do to protect them?
To protect the foundation, and we touched that subject, so
Yeah.
we got to make sure that whether it's flat work, concrete sidewalks, planter areas, or just raw, earth space, that it's sloping away from the building.
Mhm.
You don't want nothing sloping towards your building because sooner or later you're gonna have foundation issues.
Mhm.
So that's
And have
another.
the rain gutters also.
And have the rain gutters installed, absolutely. And as you mentioned, it's better to have concrete sloping away than having dirt. So
Yeah.
definitely advise that. Mhm.
Yeah, I know the plants look good when they're against the house. They look really cute, but you know what? It's not good for the foundation of the house.
And if you have plants, not only you're going to have the water, from the rainy seasons that we get, but you're also going to have the water from the irrigation.
Mhm.
And what happens if the irrigation, breaks underground? Then you might not be able to see it, and it's undermining your foundation for like 6 months before you catch it.
Right.
So it's
How do you
important.
know when you're starting to have foundation problems? How would somebody be able to tell inside their house?
So when somebody calls us out to check a building for foundation structural issues, the first thing that I do is check the doors. So open up a door and see how nice it closes. And right before it closes, check how it closes in reference to the actual frame. So normally homes that are about to start having problems, you can see that they're uneven. They're closer on the inside of the door or the outside of the door. So that's a good point of identifying foundation issues. Another issue will be visual cracks, on the ceiling, on a wall, or on a floor.
So you usually see them on the door, on the windows.
Windows, doors, anything squared in the home, you start seeing it there. But the most popular one, and buildings that I've been at, has been that
doors.
the customers find out because they can no longer close the door.
Right, so
Mhm.
that's how you would know. So if you're having problems with some of your doors and you're like, what's going on? It's probably your foundation. So you definitely want to call an expert so they can check your house and see if
Yes.
it's either the foundation, what's going on, what is it that's causing your house to move. And it could get expensive if you don't check that right away, because I think the longer you have these things affecting your house, the more expensive it's going to get. It's going to be
Yes.
to fix it, right?
Right, that is correct.
Okay, I think we've covered a few things about. I thought this was important for my clients because most of them are new buyers. They're
Right.
new homeowners, and they've never owned a house before. Usually,
Yes.
they go to their landlord, and the landlord fixes whatever the issue is. But when you first have your house, I think that it's our duty as realtors to start telling them what to do to maintain this home that we're
Right.
selling to them, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, it takes it's definitely there's different aspect when you own a home and you rent. I totally agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now if somebody wants to inquire about a job, what's the best way to reach you?
The best way to reach us, and I would encourage you guys to search us. It's AH Construction, in our media, Facebook, Twitter, or just go directly to our website. It's www.ahconstructionsd.com, and just surf through our website so you can get a feeling for what we do.
Mhm.
And I would also encourage you guys to go into the tab that says Givers Gain. We actually incorporated 9 years ago a nonprofit to be able to help, people in need, be a bridge between those in need and us. So by hiring us, not only you're helping our company grow, but you're also helping someone in need, whether it's
Oh.
in San Diego or on the other side of the border.
So tell us about that nonprofit foundation. What do you guys do?
So the nonprofit is JC Education Foundation, and the mission statement for the nonprofit is to be a bridge to empower those in need, whether if it's psychological, physical, or emotional, or financial.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much what we do. It encompasses a big spectrum. For example, we had a church who was going to close down here in National City because of lack of funds. So we went out, we helped the financing, we helped with the construction, we got the permits, and the church didn't close down. Now we had a orphanage in Rosarito that was opening up. So we helped him get that on his feet. We helped him design. It was great. We just held a a nice event. We call it a retreat for at Cañadas and in Plaza Ensenada.
Right.
For kids from El Barrio. We got like 15 kids from El Barrio, and we went out there and had lots of fun with them, in the pools and just doing
so
life with them.
nice.
So we do a lot of that.
That's what you guys are doing so awesome.
Thank
you
you.
guys are giving back to the community.
A giver's gain.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel good to give?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So now let's go over here. Like if you can see here like everybody that's logged in and their
Okay.
comments. So I'm gonna say a few of the names just to say thank you guys for joining us. And Diana
Thank
de la
you.
Torre, Salvador, thank you. Gaby, Victor, Luis Isaías, Jamie, Rosa Cedillo, Carolina, Carito,
Nice.
George, Langford, Merab, gracias por acompañarnos. Antonio, Calvejan, we miss you, come back. He changed company, so
Oh, come back.
come back. Maritza, mi suegra, and Ana Hueso, Leti Hueso, Jenny, thank you for joining us. Thank you all of you here. Miriam,
Yes.
I'm not gonna mention all the names because there's many more, but thank you for joining us and always supporting us. I think you guys got some good information. Make sure you share this video with your friends, especially if they just bought a house. They want to know what to do to maintain their home in good shape. And remember what I told you, we have everybody's name that's been here in our show and all the professionals we have worked with. They're on our website, FabiGonzalez.com, and just go to professionals and you'll be able to see their information, including Chris's information.
Awesome.
So we're gonna do a drawing. You wanna give that to Chris?
All right. let's do it.
So you wanna hold it?
Oh, sorry.
So then you will do, we're gonna pull out two names.
Okay.
And these are people that have made a comment or said hello to us. And you're gonna pull one out. I'll hold it for you so you can pull it out. All right?
Let's see. And it's Jenny.
Jenny,
Jenny.
congratulations.
Thank you, Jenny. And the
So
next
we'll
one.
put that in the mail for you. Let's do
Alright.
another one. Hold on.
Let's see. And that is Antonio Gabaldijian.
Carvajan. Antonio, you have to come and pick it up so we can harass you to come back.
There you go.
Thank you so much for joining us. Chris, is there anything else you want to add?
I just wanted to say that I appreciate you guys for inviting us, and also whoever's checking us out on Facebook. Thank you, and please go to our website. Like us on Facebook or Twitter. That'll be
What's
awesome.
the name of your page on Facebook?
On Facebook, it's AH Construction SD.
Okay, so we'll try to link it to our video today so you guys can add him and just like his page so you guys can follow them. And they're from here, from our community, so we want to support our local businesses. Not that he's not
Yes.
busy, but hey, we always want more
Yeah.
business, right?
Absolutely, and we're from Bonita, so why not? Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and remember, Fabi Gonzalez here at Cobo Banker West. And today we have here Claudia, we have Miriam, we have Victor Gonzalez, and Adrian Marroquin. I'm gonna start saying who's here with us because you guys don't get to see them, but we usually have someone here just supporting us here on the show. Well, thank you, Chris.
Yes. Well, thank you, Father.
We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.